Hey guys, welcome back to the Binger. For the past few years, fans of the MCU have been focused on the Infinity Gauntlet and Thanos' desire to eviscerate half of all of life in the universe. The story came to a head in the latest installment, Avengers Endgame. However, the Infinity Gauntlet itself dates back decades in the comics. Numerous villains and heroes have tried it on for size over the years, including some faces you wouldn't expect. Join us as we take a look at some of the most surprising characters to wield the Infinity Gauntlet. You might see some characters you recognize from the MCU, but for entirely different reasons. Oh, and be warned, there are a couple of Endgame spoilers up ahead, fair warning.
But before you go, we just have one question for you. Do you love learning about new, interesting things? If so, we have a brand new channel for you called Brainiac. Head on over there for more great videos like this one.
Thanos. Alright, this is an obvious entry. But if you're coming to us as a fan of the MCU, you don't necessarily know much about the comics, then you might learn something. In the movies, Thanos is hell-bent on achieving his ultimate goal, bringing balance to the universe by dusting half of all life. However, the original story was all about love. Now, you're probably thinking the word love and Thanos don't really mix, but the Mad Titan actually does have a heart. It's just not always in the right place. The comic book version of Thanos is madly in love with a cosmic entity that we're gonna call Mistress. He'll do anything that he can to win her affections, even if she's all about the end of life and less about romantic dinners by candlelight. This is when the Infinity Gems are first brought together, back in the 1990s miniseries Thanos Quest. To get on the Mistress' good side, he wants to shift the balance of the universe in her favor, collecting the 6 gems. While he overcomes great obstacles to do so, the entire plan doesn't work as the Mistress ends up believing that Thanos is above her and she isn't worthy. Bummer. Poor Thanos can't get a date no matter what he does. The Purple Brute continues using the stones anyway, which leads to the Infinity Gauntlet series that the movies are loosely based on. It's always about the girl, isn't it? Reed Richards. Now, we haven't seen Reed Richards in the MCU, although that could change if Disney is able to get the Fantastic Four rights. We won't go into those movies because they were just so awful that we would really rather just forget about them, but Reed Richards has a big part to play in the comics, including in 2007's new Avengers, Illuminati. Richards believes that the Infinity Gauntlet is something that only the Illuminati can take care of. He hatches a plan to get all the gems in his possession so that he can hand them over. Mr. Fantastic manages to do a good job of it solo, but asks for the help of the group to complete the task. It's all quite complicated, but involves messing with realities and a time flux. Sounds a little like Endgame, doesn't it? Richard's ultimate goal is to use the gauntlet to destroy the gems completely. But when he tries, it doesn't work. The power overwhelms him, but the Watcher shows up to save the day and bring Richards back from the brink. The members of the Illuminati decide that it's best the gems are kept entirely separate to be on the safe side. However, that plan isn't infallible. Adam Warlock. After successfully tackling Nebula for the gauntlet, more on that one later, Adam Warlock does one better and puts himself inside the soul gem. At one with the gem, he's able to increase the strength of his own power and influence the other gems so that Nebula can no longer control them. Warlock hops back out of the stone, snipes the glove for himself, and undoes everything that Nebula and Thanos have previously done. Just another day at the office, right guys? The Living Tribunal doesn't think Warlock is able to handle everything that the glove can throw at him, so order him to scatter the gems. He doesn't really want to do that, but he doesn't have much of a choice. Off the gems go into hiding once more. In a later outing, he bestows Gamora, Drax, Pip, and Moondragon with a gem each, forming the Infinity Watch. The story doesn't end there for Warlock in the Gauntlet though. When he wielded it, he made himself a completely logical being, splitting the good and evil parts of his soul into 2 characters, Goddess and Magus. Most people would wish for world peace or snap themselves a new car, but apparently superheroes work a little bit differently. Magus, the evil half, gets down with his bad self by fighting everyone in sight. He gives it the old college try, but he ends up getting defeated. Eternity places Magus within the Soul Gem, rendering Warlock comatose in the process. Eventually, Eternity wakes Warlock up, and it's no hard feelings. Iron Man. Iron Man famously uses the Gauntlet to get rid of Thanos in Avengers Endgame, laying waste to his army and saving countless lives. Only he doesn't survive as the power overcomes him. Now we're not sure where Iron Man stands in the MCU. Some fans believe he's bound to return, and others are positive that he's gone forever. In the comics, Tony Stark had possession of the Gauntlet, but it ended up going down differently. It all started with a villain, like it usually does. Parker Robbins, aka Hood, is the main man. He's not your average supervillain, as he often shows the good side of himself. It just never seems to last very long. When he's in prison for one of his various endeavors, he discovers the location of an Infinity Gem that belonged to the Inhuman Black Bolt. Since Black Bolt is no longer alive and his people don't know where the gem is, Hood takes advantage of the situation. Once he has the gem in his possession, the mischievous madman goes on the hunt for the rest of them, wanting to complete the set. Hood spent a lot of time around the Norn Stones in the past, which gave him a thirst for power. The Avengers catch wind of Hood's antics and pursue him, trying to get him to see the error of his ways. Unable to sway him, Iron Man steals the gems away and puts the Gauntlet on himself. Hood is banished back to prison, and Tony pretends that the Gauntlet's been wiped out. He really sends it back to the Illuminati, who all agree that they need to figure out a way to keep all the gems separate. Spider-Man. If you think about it, the dusting of half of all life in the universe is quite a scary thought, especially to kids. Writers Brian Clevenger, Lee Black, and Brian Chirilla opted to tell the story in a way that would entertain kids and not terrify them. What's the best way to get children involved? By having Spider-Man save the day, of course. In the 2011 retelling of the story, Avengers and the Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos still gets possession of the gems. He just makes everyone disappear instead of dusting them. The heroes that are left band together to get everyone back. Wolverine, Miss Marvel, Hulk, and Spider-Man chase Thanos into space to undo his devious deed. Sadly for them, they're not the only ones who want in on the action. Dr. Doom shows up, ready to throw down and capture the Gauntlet for himself. He wipes the floor with the Avengers, grabs the Gauntlet, and tries to use it, but nothing happens. It turns out he's not actually Dr. Doom at all, but a Doombot who believes he is the real thing. Talk about an existential crisis. Spider-Man uses his nifty web-slinging powers to grab the Gauntlet back and quickly puts it on. He wishes that Thanos never got his hands on the Gauntlet at all. In the next instant, he's back on Earth and normal service is resumed. No one is any the wiser. Unfortunately for Peter, he doesn't get any recognition, so he's back to being the unsung hero that we all know and love. A little bit of a thank you would have been nice, but that's just how things work out for Peter. Captain America. In both the comics and the MCU, Captain America has a strength of character that just can't be questioned. He's a leader of the people, a man of honor, and lest we forget, America's butt. When it comes to morals, there's no one like Steve Rogers, which is what makes him who he is. Captain America is all about doing the right thing, but even he can't get the best of the Gauntlet. When Black Panther discovers an alternate Earth is about to crash into his version of Earth, he alerts the Illuminati. They soon discover that if one of the Earths touches the other one, both of them would be instantly destroyed. The options are to destroy one of the planets or figure out something to stop it from happening altogether. Here's where the Infinity Gauntlet comes in. The task falls to Captain America, as he's a member of the Illuminati with a great sense of self. It's likely that he'll be able to take the power of the Gauntlet without being corrupted. He manages to get the two realities away from each other, but the Gauntlet gets destroyed in the process. It wouldn't have mattered, but now that it was gone, there was no way to stop a future incursion if it was going to happen. The only way it could be avoided was if the alternate Earth was obliterated. Well, when Cap is told about this plan, he is not happy about it and doesn't even want to consider it as an option. Instead of putting up with his heroic bellyaching, the rest of the Illuminati boot him off the team and wipe his memory. Sometimes ignorance is bliss. Nebula. When Thanos still wields the Gauntlet back at the start of the series, he comes across Nebula. In the comics, she's actually his granddaughter and not his daughter as told in the MCU. He's still not the kind of grandpa that takes her out for cookies and ice cream though. Instead, he turns her into a zombie just to watch her suffer. Aww, isn't that sweet? No, it is not. Gramps goes on his merry way to get rid of half of all of life in the universe, successfully kicking the collective butt of Earth's heroes. After that, he takes aim at the cosmic entities that stand in his way. Once he gets rid of Eternity, he becomes the big bad boss of absolutely everything there ever was or will be. The only downside is, he has to leave his body behind to become an entity. Zombie Nebula sees her moment for glory and steals the gauntlet from Thanos' body, undoing all of his actions. At this point in the story, Nebula has yet to switch sides, so she's still a bad guy herself. The only reason she decides to undo Thanos' work is to get one up on him, which is as good a reason as any, really. The fallen heroes come back to fight her for the gauntlet. Adam Warlock, Doctor Strange, and Silver Surfer manage to successfully take her on, claiming back the powerful glove. You know what they say, teamwork makes the dream work. Santa Claus. Yeah, that's right, the guy that wears the big red suit and has the jovial laugh. It seems ridiculous, doesn't it? Well, anything goes in Marvel Comics, so it's really not that surprising. In 2009, Marvel's Holiday Spectacular, Iron Man assembles the Illuminati, the band of heroes that flies under the radar to keep everything running smoothly. He's discovered a problem of monumental proportions. Santa's reindeer are actually Skrulls. Dun 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 dun. With Rudolph and company probably on the barbecue somewhere, Santa's left without a way to deliver the presents. To stop the children of the world being brokenhearted, the Illuminati decide to let Saint Nick borrow the gauntlet to get the gifts sent out. It seems like a perfectly reasonable plan, but it doesn't turn out to be so holly jolly. Santa ends up going on a power trip and running amok with the Infinity Gauntlet until Namor saves the day. He throws a snowball at the holiday icon, knocking the gauntlet off his hand. It's evident that even Santa Claus can't be trusted with the powerful device, so Iron Man does him a solid and bangs out some robotic reindeer instead. As far as stories go, this one is for the history books. Writers Brian Reed and Val Zemeckis did an incredible job with this one. Who would have thought that Christmas and the Infinity Gauntlet would have gone so well together? Genius. And there you have it. Now there are a few other characters that don the gauntlet over the years that we haven't mentioned, so do you know who they are? Sound off in the comments down below. Before you go, be sure to give this video a nice big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing about your favorite movies and TV shows. Until next time, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.